Welcome to Overtime on Inferno, your weekly roundup of all the big stories in CSGO, quicker than we could be absolutely completely wrong about Katowice. Quick reminder, rate and review at the end of the episode, it really helps us. I'm Logan, this is Aizyesque, let's get into it. Good morning, afternoon, time of day, etc.
Yeah, I don't know when you choose to listen to this.
Yeah, no, we don't even have statistics about that, to be honest. Which is
No, it seems a bit intrusive if we did. I kind of don't want to know. Like, if somebody wants to listen to us like really late at night, like my voice sends them to sleep. Like, I don't want to know that.
Okay, super weird thing about really weird late at night, and then we'll like do normal podcast stuff. I was sitting. I like woke up at like 4:30 in the morning by accident, and I didn't look at my clock. And I have class at 9 in the morning, so my alarm was set for 8. So I just was like, okay, I guess I just woke up early. It's like 7 a.m. The sun hasn't risen yet. I'm gonna go take a shower and like get started ready. I took a shower at 4:30 in the morning. Got back into my room, and it was like, oh my god, it's 4:45. So I just went right back to bed. I was just like, what am I supposed to do with myself now?
I think I went to sleep at 4:30 in the morning. Genuinely, I think I did. I late last night, somebody at IAM, somebody at ESL messaged me. I was like, "Oh, can you quickly do some voiceover? Can you just record 10 lines? We just need somebody to record these 10 lines. Like, you could be a lifesaver." I was like, "Yeah, sure." It was like midnight my time. I was like, "You up?" I was like, "Yeah, you've got another like 4 hours yet, mate. You need something done at 4 a.m. I'm your guy."
Oh my god! All right. So we asked last week because people answered our Spotify question, which let's go.
Nice.
We asked last week who other people thought should have stood in for Rops. One answer was Olaf, which I honestly expected coming. He was not available. I liked the second answer though, which was Nade King should have stood in for Rops.
Nade King, phase Nade King. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
That could work.
But if we're going YouTubers, I would love to see Vu standing because I just want him to have like an obscenely low HLTV rating. So on every single one of his tweets, you could just reply with his low HLTV, like happened to Chaos Bob for a while. Like I just want to respond to that with most of his tweets.
I like this. This is a good idea. All right. Today's episode is about a very specific topic. It's about Kato.
What is it?
Okay. It's Kato.
Oh, thank God. That's all I've revised for.
There's only one thing going on now. So by the time this goes out, play-ins will have been completely decided, but we're, time. So
not to peek behind the curtain too much, but we're currently recording before the third map of Big Fnatic and Ents Godsent. So you can like choose your own adventure here. We're like, what happens?
Well, yeah.
So if you're in the future where Ents win, then you're in the wrong future. But if you're in the future where Godsent win, mate.
All right, so let's talk about the 4 teams that are confirmed through already, right? That's OG, Astralis, FaZe, and Copenhagen Flames.
As we all predicted.
Okay, so this list goes from like super weird to like expected very quickly. Let's talk about the expected first. Let's do FaZe. I think I
think OG are the only team where I was like certain.
Yeah, FaZe OG were definitely the more expected ones for me.
FaZe, if they had ROPS, I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. Without ROPS, I was a little bit less confident.
Yeah, so let's talk about ROPS for a minute. So we had JKS standing for ROPS. And in the first series that FaZe had, who was it against? The FaZe Mouse series that was to get in, right? That first map, JKS did not look good.
No.
But then
so the third map he was really good. I've been getting some stick because I tweeted like maybe it's time for me to give up on JKS because for like months before he joined Complexity and while he joined Complexity, I was like convinced that this guy is a superstar, and it just hasn't clicked. And like, he did play well against Mouse in the third map, but it's not the JK. Like, he's not the player I thought he was, and that's kind of what I meant by it. And I understand it was probably a little bit hyperbolic to say give up on him, but like, he's not the superstar that I thought he was, and I don't think he's ever going to be as good as I originally thought he was. And it's kind of, I mean, I'm glad he's playing well. I'm not going to say otherwise. And if he keeps this up, then absolutely, I'll admit, yeah, it was too early. But I don't know. Like, in theory, he should be a really good fit for Robs. Their play style is very similar, and they both want those sort of high pressure, it requires a lot of in-game intelligence to play well. So in theory, it should be a good fit. So, but apparently he hasn't played the game since December.
Yeah, apparently he hasn't played December. Apparently he was like next week supposed to move back to Australia. And FaZe happened to call. Did you see the jersey he was wearing?
Yeah, the Canadian flag.
Yeah, he was wearing a Twist jersey, but an old one because they had the duct tape on the left shoulder covering up an old sponsor. So like,
you're pointing to your right shoulder.
I think it was on his right shoulder. I don't know. On one of his shoulders, he had duct tape covering an old sponsor. He was wearing a Twist jersey, which just kind of shows you how last second that this substitution was.
Yeah, well, it was, right? It was that one, like Robban, I imagine, was going to play. Is Robban their coach? He is, right?
He is, yes. It's weird. That team hasn't had a coaching change in, like, ever.
Yeah, that's why I was confused. I was like, surely he's not still the coach, but I couldn't think who else it would be.
Still the coach. So, yeah, I'm excited to see FaZe in the next round because JKS has now played the game.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a timetable on Rops returning, but I'd assume it's 10 days, which I think is generally what the world's thing for COVID is right now.
10 or 14, but yeah, I think it's 10.
I also.
So if they make it to the main stage, they make it to playoffs, he can probably come back in. But it almost was a bit harsh on JKS. If they make it to the playoffs, like, yeah, now you're out. Like, what? You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me.
Yeah, that's kind of.
You wouldn't even be allowed to play the game. So maybe you just drop. That'd be funny if they just drop somebody else. So they let JKS play, and they're like, right,
minus Twist.
Sorry, Ray, and you're out for a bit. We were going with the 6-man roster for this event.
Okay, yeah, we're signing JKS forever. Rain infinitely benched.
Yeah, I mean that would be interesting. I mean that roster would not work at all.
No.
Like Rain and Carrigan are the only two people on this roster who want to do something before like 30 seconds are left on the clock. So, but I just think it'd be amusing. Like, it seems a bit harsh on JKS, so we're just gonna be harsh to somebody else instead.
Let's talk about OG.
OG. I like this team now.
Yes, I agree.
This team's fun. All of it. Like, I mean, this. OG are now as fun as they always should have been.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of like really interesting pieces, like clever players who like people like Valde. I always think of Nexa as quite an intelligent player. Like he uses the space he's given really well. And I think Flames as well. It's that type of player. They're not the most mechanically, I mean, they're not bad, but they're the most mechanically gifted player. It's not like a team of Twists and Rops, for example. But they're players who use the space in the map well. They understand where defenders are going to be. And this team should be really fun to watch. And for such a long time, they were structured and really inconsistent. And I think they're still going to be inconsistent. I think once other teams are up to speed, I don't think they're going to be the best team in the world, but I found it very interesting that Nexa came out and was like, yeah, I could instantly tell these players were so much better than their results were showing. I was like, whoa, that's some shade.
Yeah, it's respect. Led by Alexei B, as we know.
Yeah.
Well-known fraud.
Yeah. I really respect that from Nexa. It's like, these players are really good, and I think it's like, we all, like, everyone sort of knew that Valde and Flames were really good, but there was like, for some reason, there was like
a disconnect.
People couldn't say it. For some reason, people were trying to tell me like, oh yeah, no, Alexi B's never had good players on OG, and it's like,
no, he
was a top 20 player under MSL. Like, he was in the top 20 with MSL as his in-game leader. Like, he's not a bad player. We all know how good Flames is. We all know how good like Mantu can be. He was also in the top 20 like the year before. Like, these are not bad players, and I'm glad Nexa, with like typical Eastern European, just no nonsense, these players are better than they were showing, And like, it's like my job to get that out of them. And I really respect that he is willing to say, no, these players are good. And actually, it was an in-game leader problem. I mean, he didn't say that, but if you reading between the lines, that's to me what it reads like. Like, I respect it.
Something I want to point out about like OG's dominance recently, right? They beat ENTS 2-0 to qualify 1 through 4. The lowest rating on OG for that game was 1.1.
Yeah.
Which was Nico and FlameZ. Highest being Valda at 1.26. Like, when your entire team's playing like that, it's crap. Like, Nexa is back to 2019 form.
Oh, it's so good. He's fun to watch, man.
Yeah. This is just a fun team. All right. Next team I want to talk about is a team that we recently talked about in the newsletter a lot. On how, like, and we talked about it on our new TikTok page, because apparently I'm going to decide to plug that in the middle of the episode now.
We have
TikTok.com/r/.
I'm way too old to have a TikTok account, so
it's not either of us. It's not either of us. The people on TikTok are actually, they're both younger than us.
They're Zoomers. They understand. They understand the Zoomer market. Does saying the word Zoomer automatically make you really old?
No, because I say Zoomer, and I'm not. And I'm not a boomer. So
it's coming. It's coming.
I'm 21.
It's coming. I'm 26. I don't think that's old. But
I'm as old as Zaiwu. Are we starting to call Zaiwu a boomer?
Well, I mean, he's been around for like 5 years now. Like, he's a veteran.
God, no. All right. I'll talk about Astralis, though. There's been a lot of discussion recently about, like, Astralis is terrible. Astralis is bad. What happened with Astralis?
They're now the best team in the world.
And they're now the best team in the world. It's only ever a superlative with Astralis. They're never just
they're either the greatest team in the world,
worst team.
I mean, they beat Big and MIBR. Like, I'm not that excited yet. Like,
yeah,
MIBR to be 0-1. All right, Na'Vi failed at it, but fine. Big in a best of 3. Big should be good, but they're kind of not at the moment. Faven hasn't really... Like, I thought Faven would be a bit like Jantares, where he'd just be like a chaotic element in an otherwise, like, structured team. Kind of like Yukindar and VP. When they were good, they were, like, really heavily structured before with them, and then it was like Yukindar just being an absolute maniac. That's kind of what I thought Faven would be. But he's, at the moment, just become Gade 2.0, which is, like, not what you're signing Faven for.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to Astralis for a minute. Yeah. So they beat MIBR. They beat Big. We've made our opinions on Big very known for a while, that they're like the gatekeepers to the good teams in the world. And by definition, that would mean Astralis is a good team in the world. But like, as you said, I'm not sure how much I buy off this. I hate having Blame and Zip in the same positions. Like, it just, the more and more this, like, the time goes on with this roster together, the more and more I'm just like, really? Is this really still a thing? Right? It's weird. It's weird that I expected them to qualify for main event. Let me be clear. They should have qualified for main event. I didn't expect them to qualify with 2 wins. I expected them to have a loss in there.
Yeah, I think draw was pretty kind to them in that regard. I mean, as I say, like, I've always said, Big, if you beat Big, you're a decent team. So I guess I have to...
Yeah, I guess we have to follow the rule there.
Astralis are a decent team. But I guess it's the case that for Astralis, it's not necessarily good enough to be a decent team. Like, it's fucking Astralis.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, Man United aren't that bad. They're the 5th best team in the Premier League. It's like, yeah, but they're Manchester United. Like,
soccer things I understand. Let's go. My roommate's
exactly. That's kind of the point, isn't it? Everyone knows who Manchester United are, even if you don't care about football.
I mean,
like, they're the 5th best team in England. You'd be like, what? It's Man United. Like, it's like, I don't know. It's like the New York Yankees being like the 2nd best team in New York. You're like, it's not the point.
Hey, don't diss my Mets like that, man.
I am not trying to diss anyone. I do not the only things I know about baseball are from Moneyball. That's the only things I know about baseball. I know who Billy Bean is. and that's about it.
All you need to
Joe
know is the
DiMaggio.
fact I grew up out like in Yankees territory and was a fan for the other team from New York. So
smart.
I was born in Mets territory and then moved. So okay, not the point. Let's talk about the other team that made Kato already.
Yeah, the other team that aren't the New York Yankees.
So here's the thing, right? We've been talking a while about how like teams are LAN teams, how they perform better on LAN. That like FaZe is a LAN team, right? That they
Virtus Pro
is a LAN
Polish
team,
Virtus Pro.
Oh yeah. The Virtus Plow is a LAN team, right? That there's the LAN. Apparently, Copenhagen Flames is a LAN team.
Yeah. If Astralis are the New York Yankees, then this is the New York Mets of Denmark. This team is like, I don't know if that analogy even works, but it's quite a good segue. No, okay, they're more like the Manchester City of Denmark, just without the oil money.
Sure.
This seems like insanely good. Like I watched them play. Was it NIP? And they sort of choked on the second map and recovered enough to win, but they had a massive lead and slipped. But they took 2 huge leads against NIP, and they beat so convincing.
They beat NIP 16-3 on Nuke,
and that was not like that result did not flatter them. They were so dominant. Like, those rounds weren't like they did not seem close. There wasn't like a whole lot of clutches. At least from if memory serves right, there wasn't a whole lot of clutches. Like their T side had like an insane amount of depth.
That's the thing. They started on T side on that Nuke map. They went up 12-3 on T side Nuke.
Yeah, so I just checked to make sure I wasn't misremembering. Both teams won a single clutch in that 16-3 game. So one of NIP's 3 rounds was a clutch. Like other than that, Copenhagen's tore them limb from limb on that T side. They had depth. Their second round, I think it was like an anti-eco. NIP bought up. And Copenhagen Flames ran like this beautiful double outside take where they threw the cross smokes, put 3 people down, down into secret, threw a late smoke for hell, as if they were gonna push outside, and then they rushed the lower bomb site and had 2 lurkers to collect people trying to flank. They had 1 lurker in lobby and 1 lurker outside, so they couldn't get flanked. So it was just like a 3-man hit. Like they set up as if they were going to do a slow outside, crunch, wrap around the whole of spawn, and then immediately hit the B site before they could notice. And then had 2 people to pick off anyone who then decided to make a flight. It was beautiful. Such a clean round. Such a good way to play the anti-eco. And that sort of depth, just NIP could not match that. And I mean, they didn't have their star player, so you can sort of respect it, but I feel like a lot of teams are going to lose to Copenhagen Flames' Nuke. That T side was stunning.
Yeah, here's the big takeaway: you don't win matches when Hooksy is going 23-7 on you. It was just him on his own was disgusting. Yeah. They played so well. This is a LAN team right now. This team is built to win this. I'm not sure I'm willing to say they're built to win this tournament, but they're definitely not built to win this tournament.
Astralis must be absolutely gutted that the Flames decided to stay together instead of splitting up when they were looking for an org, because Nikodos is so obviously the player they need.
Yep.
He's just so obviously the AWPer they need. He's really good. And I mean, I know we've been duped before by Danish AWPers on these teams with A-Core, but I don't know, man. This guy is obviously what Astralis need. And it's mad because he, 2 years ago, he was like a Twitter goon. Do you know what I mean? He was like somebody like me on Twitter. And then 2 years later, I'm like, oh yeah, no, Astralis should break the bank for this guy. What? It's mad. He probably can't believe it himself, but he's quite clearly maybe not the best Danish player in the world right now, but he's the best Danish AWPer.
It's not much competition, to be fair.
I mean, even if Device wasn't ill, I feel like the way Nikodos is playing at the moment is I don't know, maybe that's an overreaction from one best of 3.
No. This is a podcast. We deal
one best of 3 against NIP with a stand-in AWPer, but
we deal only in overreactions.
Yeah.
I want to quickly run through the 4 teams that have confirmed as of right now not made it, and then we'll do quick thoughts on the other 8 teams. So confirmed teams that have not made it: Wisla Krakow, who I don't think any of us expected to make.
No, I thought they might win a map, but they didn't do that.
They didn't. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about them. To be fair.
Yeah, like I don't know, they probably weren't expecting to do much better than this. They played against, was it who was it they played in the elimination game? Fnatic, right?
Yeah, Fnatic. They got.
I mean, that's pretty unfortunate. Like yeah. Maybe if you get a game like MIBR, like maybe you can
or Sprout win. Or something like that. Yeah.
Fnatic, you're probably not beating.
Yeah, let's talk about Sprout. They're gone. Like they lost to FaZe, and then they lost to Godsend,
I believe.
Yeah. Like again, it's kind of expected. Also, Sprout was one of the couple teams that did not expect to be here.
That's true as well. They had less. I believe
they replaced. They replaced Tyloo.
Yes.
No.
Movistar replaced Tyloo.
They replaced Complexity.
No. Sprout replaced Tyloo. Movistar replaced Complexity.
Okay. We still have to talk about Movistar. But Sprout replaced Complexity, Tyloo. So they had some time, but not a huge amount of time to prep to actually play this event. And their new roster, and that, yeah. Thumbs up.
Yeah, you can't expect too much, you say. They came in like pretty much unprepped, or at least with less time to prepare. They
anyone else,
didn't qualify, so you're not necessarily expecting that much. It's a brand new roster. Their like best player just got bought by their rivals. Like they looked decent. Certainly, the new additions they signed looked like good players.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't be too disheartened if you're a Sprout fan, but it's pretty much as expected. It would be a big shock if they were still in.
We're going to skip over the Australian team for a moment. MIBR did not make it. Again, I don't think anyone really expected them to make it.
No.
This team is weird.
They're looking like the best version of MIBR we've seen for a while, though.
Yeah.
And I know that's a relatively low bar, but
yes.
They finally look like they found a roster that has like actual Counter-Strike players on it.
Well, I think they found a roster of people that want to play Counter-Strike, which was a big deal comparatively to the old ones, right? Like, it seems everyone from those old rosters is now either not playing Counter-Strike anymore or playing in the Last Dance, which we all know is not about playing Counter-Strike, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like I actually quite respect what they've built there, and I think they can take some heart from their performances as of late, even if hasn't necessarily gone exactly as they want. It's the best version of MIBR. Like,
let's talk about so we wrote a thing in the newsletter the other day about basically predictions from staff members at TLDR.
Right, poo-pooed your liquid suggestion, but thought there was a chance that your idea that Renegades might make top 8 had something to it.
Yeah, so Renegades is out.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
They Liaz, I was expecting Liaz to be able to perform a little bit more.
He looked good, to be fair. He did look good, Liaz.
He looked good in the first game. The problem is the game against Entropic, that 2-0, he had a 0.51 rating on the series.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest,
series. My electricity was out this morning, so I didn't see that game.
I watched some of that series.
As far as I'm concerned, he was all right. The thing is, against Renegades seems to be one of those teams who, when they play against good teams, like raise their level.
Yep, I know exactly.
And against OG, they looked genuinely good, and some of their like late round 3v3s, like 4v4s, 2v2s, were really clean. Like there's some really good like window lurks on Mirage. I think Lias had one that was devastating. I think INS had one as well. Ints. They did look good at patches, but this has always been the story of Renegades, right? Like,
yeah,
always the bridesmaid, never the bride, heroic failure, etc. Like all of those cliches. They've always looked good, but flatter to deceive.
Yeah. All right. So then now there's 8 teams, right, that have not made the event yet. That half of these will make the event. So we'll start with the games that are currently going on. Big Fnatic. We kind of talked about Big before. we talked about Big before.
Yeah, I'm not convinced by this team, but then I'm also not convinced by Fnatic.
Fnatic, yeah.
They yeah. Their
Fnatic
opening game. Who was their opening game? They looked really
Fnatic.
bad.
It was Copenhagen Flames, but
yes,
as we've already kind of stated that this Copenhagen Flames team is like built for this. So
true, but like I don't know. You kind of want more out of Fnatic. The game today, as we've mentioned, is against Big, which is like you're gonna feel bad for whichever team loses. You're gonna feel like pretty disappointed by. So it's kind of a game where it's unlucky they've come up against each other. But
one of the things about this game though
games,
is map 1 was Ancient, right? Map 2 was fuck was it, Mirage? Vertigo. And on both of them, on Ancient, Fnatic was down 3-12 after the first half, and Vertigo they were down 5-10 after the first half. They actually came back from that 3-12 on the first map. They weren't able to on the second map, but not by much. So there's signs of life regardless.
I'm always worried when a team, even if you come back from 12-3 down, that's always a worry to me. I mean, I guess it does depend on the map and the situation, but it's like, why were you there in the first place? Like, I don't know. Yeah. I always think the team who's ahead and chokes, I'd be more satisfied. Not more satisfied to choke, but like I tend to think they're a better team if they were ahead and choked.
Yeah. Godsent Ents. I don't have a huge amount to say about this other than Spinks continues to show that he is a very good player of the game of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, if a minute ago you saw me sort of screw facing, I was looking off screen, he just won a nasty 1v2. Like it's 4-all, and he just won a nasty 1v2. I was like, ooh, that was clean.
Yeah.
Spinks is good. Like I hope we start to see some of what Madden can do. I saw his old coach Devil Walk saying on Twitter, like we've not even like seen like anything from his skill set.
His power level is not very high yet.
Yeah, he's hiding his power level a little bit. I think it's a case of him being on a new team and getting into new roles, but that guy's money, dude.
Interesting thing that was just sent to me is that Crimson Sphinx both just won 1v3 clutches at the exact same time in different matches.
Wow.
And apparently, according to the Twitters, the Crims clutch was so good that Moses tweeted, "Holy shit, add another god tier Crims clutch to the list." So we'll have to go and find that after this.
Yeah, we'll find that after this, yeah.
Yeah. But Godsent continues to look like a actually good team. Something which about a month ago, if you told me Godsent was going to be a good team, I'm not sure I would have believed you.
I would. I've been on this hype train for a while.
You can be on this hype train. I was.
I'm a massive Phelps fanboy. I think Phelps is so incredibly underrated. Like he was so underrated on that SK team.
MIBR,
yeah, that became MIBR. Like as soon as they got rid of it, I mean they were on the downward spiral anyway, right? But I always thought he was like such a good piece for that team. And I never they had that moment with him and Fur where they both pushed down Banana, and for some reason, like that meant they could never play together again. It was all a bit Lampard and Gerrard can't play in midfield together for me, but I don't know. It's very strange. Like, oh yeah, they double pushed, so we have to get rid of one of them. Like, what? Why would you not get rid of the guy who's literally known for being over aggressive?
We don't question things. I'm gonna skip this match. Let's talk about NiP for a minute.
It feels bad because they don't have their full roster.
They don't have Device. That's all I can really say. Is like we keep having to kick the can down the road of like actually judging NiP because it's like every event is just they don't actually have a full roster. It's like they used to have stand-ins all the time.
They haven't had a full roster since Device joined because
they had
playing a stand-in.
They had the Young Ninja stand-ins, and then they brought Device back, and then they had like 2 games with Device at the major, right? They had like a little bit of a major run, and now they're back to like Device is out now. Just like it's unfortunate for everyone involved there, to be honest. Like that just sucks. Movistar Riders, they are adequate. That's kind of where I'm at.
Movistar they play a brand of Counter-Strike that's better than their level, but I just think individually they're not as good as the other teams. Which, if you don't have individual pieces, like if you don't have a superstar or like a budding superstar, I think it's pretty reasonable to play the way they do, and I have a lot of respect for them. And I also love that they always post that picture of Dragonite. That's like their mascot.
I saw you on Twitter today with that, man.
Yeah, I was like, because I kept seeing it, and then ESL to like any Dragonite. I was like, right, I've got to ask what's going on. And supposedly it's because there's like a gif of Dragonite, the Pokemon, putting his hand to his chest as if he's singing the national anthem. And the Spaniards loved it, so they just started playing the Spanish national anthem to Dragonite doing that. And I think that's just fucking hilarious. It's so funny. So Dragonite's like their official mascot. It's so funny.
Yep.
You know, I don't know why it tickles me so much. It's just like this Pokemon going like that. Like he's a Spanish hero. It's insane.
Yeah, no, I think Movistar is good. I think there's an actual chance that they could take a map off of NIP today, but like
they might be. They could be.
They could beat them.
Not a bad team.
They could beat them. They shouldn't, but they could beat them.
They shouldn't. I do think probably Hampus and Rez should be able to skill check them enough. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel about it. But NIP, like Fozy, did not look good against Copenhagen Flames. He was like, I don't know if it was pressure, nerves. I don't know if it was just an off day, but like he was missing shots that like he doesn't normally miss, and no tier 1 AWPer misses. Like,
yeah, let's talk about some other academy players. Insert segue here. Mouse.
Yeah,
Torzy is
fucking
so
cracked, dude.
So good, man.
It's like everyone kind of knew he was really good, right? We all kind of expected this, but still seeing him just like be their best player immediately is still a little jarring, even if you kind of thought it was going to happen.
Yeah.
He's actually just this good. Like he's actually just like, what was he doing on their academy? What was he doing in tier 2 and then their academy team when he's like, it looks like he's been ready for this level for ages. He looks so suited to it immediately. Yeah. The 1v2, he won a bunch of clutches, but the 1v2 he won, I think it was in overtime, where he hits this absolutely divine shot onto Twist.
No, that was before. That was on Mirage, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, no, that was before overtime. It was 12-14 because I replayed it about 4 times yesterday. Yeah, and then watched it during dinner when my roommate was watching the highlights from that match.
Yeah, it was so nice. He's stuck firebox. There's a guy CT and there's a guy coming from the bottom of the stairs, and he misses his first shot on the CT guy. CT. And you're like, and he gets tagged. He's got no chance here. And then Twist jumps from like onto the bench. Yeah. And Torzy just flicks and just quick scopes him through like the triple box. It's an insane shot. It's so quick. It's like it's such a clean shot. And then after that you're like, well, he's destined to win this. He just peeks out and AWPs the second guy. You're like,
I think Scrawny said something about like the Chosen or something like that, or like this is at the same time, and it was a good clip all around. I'm not convinced JDC is ready for tier 1 yet.
He is coming into a team he's not practiced. He's filling in for B Masood. I mean, maybe he's not there yet, but I don't think he looks.
I didn't think he looked bad, but I have an idea for Mouse. I have a genius idea.
You have an idea.
Okay. I have an idea.
That's what
minus NBK, which I think is a universally agreed upon idea currently, plus JKS. Reunite the 2 Australians. Bring JDC up and then keep Torzy on and keep Frozen on, and just have the 2 old guys. Old.
Yeah, not sure.
Dexter's like 31, so he is actually.
He's 31, is he? There's no way Dexter's 31. He's like 25 or something.
Dexter's 27. We were both.
He's not 31. He's 1 year older than me, you bastard.
But bring Dexter back with his countrymen, and then give Torzy JDC from the academy team, and then just let Frozen do Frozen things. That feels a lot better than the current roster that they're.
I just don't think Mouse should sign anyone, because they literally have the best academy team in the world, and their current team is literally rated lower than their academy team. no reason for them to buy a player when. What's the point of having an academy team if you have the best one in the world and you're going to then like sign JKS?
That is a good point.
I would. I mean, personally, if it was me, I'd keep Frozen and then have 4 of the NXT guys. I don't know which one you cut though. Is the problem?
Yeah,
and it feels really harsh to not call all 5 of them up. But
yeah,
they have the best academy team in the world, and like we've already seen with Gambit youngsters what just giving these kids time can do. I'm not saying they would become the best team in the world, but
you're not saying that.
But I also think that the chance that Exertion is one of the best players in the world is about as high as it is with JKS. And you don't have to spend any extra money.
Yeah. Yeah, not wrong. Entropic is our last team for us to talk about quickly.
I feel really bad that I feel like nobody talks about Entropic, and it's like
Entropic,
it's kind of unfair because they're
Entropic
really good.
What the fuck is the other CIS team that was like pre-Entropic, like from a year or two ago? There's always just like one of those random CIS teams that's
there's
always
K23 as well at the moment.
Yeah, there's K23 as well, but like there's always one of those. There's just a CIS team that like you don't think of as top tier, but just is always like there's always just one of them, right?
Yeah, but then they seem to be a lot more stable than the others. Like teams like Team Spirit. Obviously, I love Team Spirit.
Like Spirit, Forza.
They were really unstable. As Forza, yeah, that might have been the one. Like they were good, but they seemed pretty unstable. Whereas like Entropic have been this good for a while, and they're just genuinely really good, and like nobody seems to care. Almost, it's like I kind of feel bad for them, but I also like. I'm just not that interested by them, but I don't know why, because this is exactly the sort of team that I normally would care about.
So I accidentally just scared myself by accident, because I was going back on the HLTV rankings to find whatever team this was, and I clicked on 2018. Do you know who the 8th ranked team in 2018 was?
Oh God,
it's an American team.
NRG.
Yeah. Do you know who's on that team? Fugly and Daps.
Yeah, I remember that team. So, I remember like just not understanding why Fugly was on that team.
Mm-hmm. That was also the same time when we had the cursed Cloud9 team.
Yeah, was that the Flusher Kiyoshima one?
Yeah.
Bring it back, I say.
Optic was still a thing then, but had a full Danish lineup.
Do you know where Kiyoshima is at the moment?
Yes, he's playing for Team Heretics.
Exactly.
Valorant,
who cares? Yeah, exactly. Who cares? Flusher, he's with.
I might be wrong on that.
Although, actually, have you seen the rumored? I think it's Flusher.
Yes. The new.
We'll talk about that in a minute. Team. But like that team is interesting. Maybe Flusher Kiyoshima could run it back, and the rest of the Cloud9 players are like, Golden's without a team. Wait, Golden was on that team, wasn't he? Am I going mad?
Probably.
God, that's weird to think about.
Yep. No, Golden was not on that team. It was Stewie, Automatic. No, it was Automatic Rush, Zelsis.
Oh my God.
Yep.
That's really ruined my day remembering that.
All right. You want to talk about the? You want to talk about the new Gorillas lineup?
Yeah, this is. All I can remember is it's MSL, Waro2K, Oscar, Flusher. I don't think
Flusher's on it.
Is it not Flusher?
Hold on, I'm pulling it up.
I remember because I joked on Twitter that it was 3 AWPers on one team.
Oscar, Waro, Sunny, Supra, and MSL.
That's it, Sunny and Supra. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Waro was a good AWPer, but apparently he doesn't want to AWP anymore.
So who's going to AWP, Oscar or MSL?
It's going to be Oscar, but I don't know, man. I joked on Twitter that it was 3 AWPers on one team. But, MSL said he's not going to AWP. I know that's the joke. Like the joke is that I like calling him an AWPer because he's not really an AWPer, but he did it for a while. But it's like, I don't know. You're really banking on Sonny being good again. Like, Oscar has been good recently.
Yeah,
102K we know is a good AWPer. I don't know if we know he's a good rifler, but we know he's a good AWPer at least. Yeah. I don't know much about Super. I've heard the name.
I've heard the name too. That's
hopefully for this team he's cracked. Because I'm not sure the rifling firepower is there otherwise.
No, I do not think it is.
Unless he's like Nico. I'm not sure this team has.
Which Nico?
All I'm saying is AZ is available.
Didn't they try that already?
If you need some rifling firepower. They didn't try it with Waro and Oscar, no.
It's a good point.
They had him AWPing in the last time he played. That was it didn't go as well as I thought it might.
All right. Our question of the day: build us your best free agent team. Or I'm actually gonna put two questions. Build us your best free agent team, and tell us the team that your wildest Katowice prediction based on who made it through. Those are the two I want to know.
And if your free agent team doesn't have AZ, you are wrong.
Yeah.
AZ and Mir, probably. I mean, mine's definitely got AZ and Mir in it.
God. All right. That's going to be it from us today. You can find us on Twitter at Logan Ramhap, at Aizyesque, and at ReTLDR. We'll see you again next week. I don't know what next week is. It's a week.
Katowice.
Probably.
I've gone Katowice crazy.
See y'all next week.
See ya.